So just over 12 months ago, I picked up this, the Fuji X100V, and very quickly I fell in love with it. I made a few videos shortly after picking it up talking about how it had changed my personal relationship with photography, and now that a year has passed, I thought I'd revisit the topic to see if my opinion on the X100V has changed and what my feelings are on it 12 months in. So firstly, a bit of context. Photography is my income. Therefore, the cameras that I use are primarily work tools. Because of this, my Sony full-frame cameras are fantastic tools that do exactly what I want them to do and lots more. However, they're big, they're bulky, and being quite honest, they don't fill me with joy when using them for personal use. And because of this, I found myself not using them for personal use. Instead, either shooting film or just using my phone camera. However, I was either essentially taking snapshots on my phone or having to be super careful and considered when shooting film so as not to waste film and money. All in all, there was no middle ground. Now, with the cost of film going up, I realised that there was a gap in my camera bag for a digital point and shoot that would allow me the freedom to shoot as and when I wanted, but also to create images that excited me rather than just those snapshots from my iPhone. Now, after meeting and talking to the incredible Sean Tucker, I purchased a second-hand Recode GR3. Super small, great image quality, and the ability to set up picture profiles to allow greater creativity, it was a no-brainer. Unfortunately, the very first time that I took it out, I realised that there were dead pixels on the sensor. I returned it to Harrison Cameras where I bought it from, and they sent it off to Recode to be fixed. However, 4 weeks later, it still wasn't done. At this point, I had the opportunity to buy this from my good friend Liam. Now, bear in mind that this was before the whole TikTok out of stock blow up that the X100V had last year, and Liam offered it to me at a great price. It was a no-brainer, so I got a refund for the Ricoh and gave this a whirl. This had been the original camera that I'd wanted, but I couldn't find one within budget at the time. Now, fast forward a few weeks, and I instantly knew that I'd made the right decision. As I mentioned in those early videos, the ability to just throw this over my shoulder and barely feel it, or throw it in a jacket pocket with ease, meant that I used it far more than any digital camera before. Add to that the ability to utilise the different built-in picture profiles, create and use film simulation recipes. It meant that I could create completely different images at the click of a button. Using the app on my phone, I would simply transfer the downsampled JPEGs, give me instant access to the images with no editing needed. This made for that much desired easy process from shooting to sharing, whether that be sharing it online, sharing with friends, or just memories for myself that I wanted to have on my phone. So the main question is, 12 months in, are things still the same? Well, on the whole, spoiler alert, yes, but there are a few key differences that I want to point out, both positive and negative. Now, firstly, I still take this camera with me to most places, whether that's walking the dog, going to the football, going out for a day trip, or going on holiday. If I think that there is any chance that I'm going to want to take photographs where I'm going, this comes with me. I still love how compact it is for the results that it produces, and thrown over my shoulder as it is here, it's become a staple part of my routine when heading out of the house. Now, one of the other reasons for buying the X100V was to save money on film, and I have definitely shot less film this year than I did last year. I do still shoot film, but now it's more for personal projects, for client shoots, or on trips and holidays. Using the film sims in this feeds that desire for stylized photos without editing, and whilst no, it doesn't scratch that itch entirely, it definitely does a good enough job to have halved my film consumption in the last year. Now, another note on the film sims, I've loved trying out different ones over the last 12 months. Seeing recipes online and then trying them and tweaking them to my personal preference is great fun, even if sometimes I don't particularly like the outcomes. Just the actual act of it is great for me. Now, I have to say that one of the biggest positives over the last year has been the introduction of the new Fujifilm X App, which has removed one of my few frustrations with the camera. Previously, trying to connect to the old app was an absolute pain, and on several occasions it led to me just leaving the images on the camera until the next time I could be bothered to try transferring files. Now, thankfully, that's a thing of the past, and transferring those 3 megabyte JPEGs to my phone is quick, it's easy, and it's a huge, huge plus for what could have been a negative. Another real positive is that I've now got enough experience to convincingly say that the battery life on the X100V for such a small battery is phenomenal. I probably charge the camera maybe like every other week, and I've only actually fully drained it once in the last 12 months, and that was after a camping trip in the Lake District for 3 days, where I was using it quite a lot and the temperature was quite cool. Because it's for personal use, I'm never kind of just shooting non-stop, so checking the battery just isn't part of my shooting process anymore. I simply check it when I get home to see if it needs charging before the next time that I use it. Now next up is something that I thought could be an issue, and I'm pleased to report that it isn't. So the X100V isn't fully weather sealed unless you use a filter with it. However, in February I took it with me on a trip to Iceland, and I used it both with and without a filter in freezing temperatures and heavy snow downfalls, and at no point did I have any issue with it whatsoever. No locking up, no warning lights, nothing. Now, I have to say that for the most part, I do tend to use my Pro Mist filter with the X100V, but that's more an aesthetic choice and to prevent potential damage than it is for weather sealing, but it is worth bearing in mind. Now, one thing that I didn't expect to be a feature that I would love so much is the optical viewfinder. Now, I use this just as much, if not more than, the equally good electronic viewfinder, and I do this for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it gives you a full view of an extra probably 30 to 40% outside of the frame, which is great for both composing shots and seeing any action that may come into your frame, which is perfect for street photography. It also doesn't distract you if you're using film sims. It just gives you the scene as it is in real life in front of you. Also around the outside, you've got all the information you could possibly want. You've got your aperture, your shutter speed, your ISO, your white balance, your battery life, etc. It's like having the best of both worlds from film and digital cameras, and I've got it set so that I can flick between the EVF and the optical viewfinder just using this lever on the front of the camera, which is in easy reach when I'm shooting. I don't even have to move the camera away from my face. To be honest, there are literally only 2 negatives that I've got for this camera after a year's worth of use, and they are both really small nitpicky ones. Firstly, I wish that there was a 4:5 ratio that you could set in addition to the standard 3:2, 16:9 and 1:1 square ones. It's a format that I love, and it's perfect for composing for Instagram. The other one is that I would love it if the X100V had some form of inbuilt image stabilization, just for those lower light shots where you want to shoot at slightly slower shutter speeds. Now, it's only happened a couple of times, but there have been occasions where I've just wanted that extra stop or two without having to risk camera shake and blurry images. But again, I'm nitpicking. Overall, after 12 months with the X100V, I can confidently say that for me, it's absolutely perfect. It does everything that I want it to and so much more. It has completely revitalized my appetite for shooting for myself. It's made me shoot more. It's made me improve my composition, given the fixed focal length. And it's definitely saved me money through shooting less film. It's allowed me to create some of my favorite photographs that I've taken in the last 12 months, and I absolutely would not be without it. If you can find one, and more importantly, if you think that it can be the right camera for you, I thoroughly recommend it. If you can't find one, or if this is out of budget for you, whilst not being as compact, through using other people's and hearing their views on their daily use with it, I'm sure that any of the other smaller Fuji cameras will give you a very similar experience. However, if you can find one and you can afford it, this is a must for me. Literally the only camera that could replace this is the ridiculously priced Leica Q2. However, until I win the lottery, the X100V will do me just fine. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.